welcome to another RSR. Tonight I'm reviewing Club Atletico Independiente 2, Real Esteli 2, 2-3 on aggregate in the CONCACAF Central American Cup 2023 semifinal leg 2. Club Atletico Independiente 2, Real Esteli FC 2 en la Copa Centroamericana de la CONCACAF semifinale partido vuelta 2-3 global. Esteli avanzar de la final de la Copa Centroamericana contra Alajuelense. Real Esteli is going to the final to face Alajuelense. Deservedly so. I mean, defensively, they played a pretty good game. They defended with their hearts out. And they scored 2 spawny goals, but 2 defensive lapses by Independiente put them out of this tournament. Put themselves out of this tournament. Esteli got 2 spawny goals, but doesn't matter. They won. Rafael Aguila in the 14th minute. You thought after this goal that Independiente would just smell blood in the water and buzz, which they did, but they still allowed 2 goals. Independiente were amazing offensively. They should have scored more than 2 goals. They didn't, but that's down to Esteli playing well defensively. But Independiente were buzzing all night. They were buzzing all night. But Aguila gets the ball, makes the trailing run. The whole left side, the whole far side of the net is open. He's able to pop it in. 1-0, 1-0, 1-1 global. Penalties would happen if this stood. Halftime, 1-0, 1-1 on aggregate. Medio tiempo, 1-0, 1-1 global. If this stood, it would go to penalties. That didn't matter much because in the 46th minute, Bansi Hernandez scores, has the ball in the box, taps it, and it bounces into the net, just bundles into the net. The keeper should have came off his line and went for that ball, but he didn't. It's a goal. 1-1, 1-1, 1-2 global. Esteli has the lead, 1-1 on the night, 1-2 on aggregate. Keeper should have came off his line to get to that ball. Simple. Slide out, push it away. It's funny because when he did come off his line, that allowed the second one, and he couldn't win for losing. He either got big, come off his line, allowed a goal. Didn't come off his line when he should have allowed a goal. Couldn't win for losing. That sucks, though. Davis Contreras in the 63rd minute scores a goal, takes the shot, bounces under the arm, and into the net. 2-1, 2-1, 2-2 global. Visitar, goals de visitar para Esteli. Away goals to Esteli, 2-2 aggregate, 2-1 on the night. Beautiful goal by Contreras, and he played a damn good game as he got subbed on. I thought, damn, he's going to be the reason why they win. Turns out, 19 minutes later, Arly Bonilla scores a goal. Again, Roberts comes off his line this time. Probably shouldn't have done it. Got beat. Ball whizzes past his arm and in the 82nd minute to make it 2-2. 2-3 on aggregate. 2-2. 2-3 global. And Esteli got the goal they needed. They needed to score because if they didn't, Independiente were going to keep buzzing. We're going to keep buzzing. And if they didn't score, it would have been a lot scarier. They could have scored after the second goal or the third goal for Independiente went in, but then you'd lose time. They were like, we need to push and get one more. And they started to push after that second goal, and they started getting some possession and pushing, and they scored. So, there it is. Full time, 2-2, 2-2, 2-3 on aggregate, 2-3. Real Esteli wins the tie with the draw down in Panama. Full-time stats, 10 shots to 5, 7 shots on goal to 2, 50% possession to 50% possession, 321 passes to 303, 77% pass accuracy to 79%, 10 fouls to 11, 0 offside to 0, 2 yellow cards to 1, 0 red cards to 0, 7 corners to 6. Listen, Independiente played well offensively. They were amazing going forward, pushing the ball forward, going forward, taking shots, setting up chances. They were amazing. They were amazing. Defensively, pretty good except for 2 defensive lapses and choosing to come off the line when you shouldn't have came off the line and choosing to stay on your line when he should have came off the line. He couldn't win for losing. And there you go. But Independiente looked like they could have scored 3 or 4 or 5 goals. But Real Esteli, defensively, was like, no, you ain't going to win that easily. Even if you look like you should, you're not going to win that easily. We ain't going to let you do that. Them players on Esteli play for their badge. They play for their badge. Somebody told me back during the group stage that Esteli were built to make the final. Built to win this tournament. Deep down, I'm like, you're crazy. I was like, okay. I replied like, okay, we'll see what happens. But deep down, I was like, you're crazy. Turns out that guy was right. Turns out that person, let me say it like that. That person was right. That person was right. They were built for the final. And they could win this tournament. Especially if the first leg's held in Esteli. They could do enough to make sure Alajuelense has a really hard hill to climb. And who's to say Alajuelense didn't peak too early? May have. Who's to say in this tournament? Who's to say? But Real Esteli plays for their badge. They play great tactics. They have a wonderful team. They are amazing at home. They are unbeatable at home. They have been for a good couple of years, but especially now. They got some really good players. They got a great manager, great tactics, and they play for that badge. They play for honor. They play for fight. They play for respect. And I have a lot of respect for that. That Real Esteli play for those values. They are an amazing football club. They've had a great tournament. They deserve to be in this final, and they always find ways to win. It may not be the most pretty. Hell, they won, let me see here, at home. Go all the way back here. There we go. Should be right here. Here we go. 1-0 at home, 2-2 draw against Saprissa in Costa Rica. Same thing. 1-0 win at home, draw at Saprissa. They're through to the semifinals. Independiente, 1-0 win at home, draw in Panama, on to the final. It's like they know how to get this done, and they had a pretty good group stage. They got pipped by Independiente at the end of it because they lost to them in Panama, but turns out they learned from that. Won both games at home, beat Olympia. 1-1 on the road. They were really good. They've only lost once. Multiple wins. 1 draw. Or 2 draws. They do what they got to do. And it's a very interesting situation with Esteli. They do what they have to do. And if they win at home, they make it easier on themselves on the road because all they have to do is draw. Because once you get the away goals, especially if it's a clean sheet, makes things a lot easier. But if you win on the road or win at home, it still makes things easier for you, but especially if you have a clean sheet and you have no away goals connected to that tie until you play on the road. I think them being at home in the first leg actually probably helps them more than hurts them. They have a good mentality. Defensively, they were amazing. They stood on their heads, everybody, not just the keeper. They all stood on their heads, making sure nothing went in, except the 2 that did. There could have been like 5 or 6 for Independiente. In a different universe, they scored more of those goals, and they're through. And they kicked Esteli's ass, even though they still allowed 2. But in this universe, it was a draw. They did enough. They stood in their heads. They made sure nothing else went in. They're on to the final, Esteli. Well-deserved. Man of the match for me, I'm going to go with Bansi Hernandez. He put themselves in a really good position. He put Esteli in a really good position. That they got the away goal. It made things a lot easier, and it made things a lot less nervy for them. They felt confident after that happened, especially since it was such a spawny goal. They felt confident after that happened. So again, Esteli, well-deserved win. Congratulations. Felicidades, Real Esteli. Commiserations to Independiente. Alajuelense versus Real Esteli in the final later this month, early December. See who wins the first ever Central American Cup, and let's see if the champion's curse stays alive next year. That's one thing I'm interested to see. With that being said, Alajuelense contra Real Esteli en la final de la Copa Centroamericana. Should be an interesting tournament, interesting final. We're going to have some good finals in the CONCACAF trophies. Also, Robin Hood versus Cavalier. I think that'll be pretty good too. So we'll see how that turns out. With that being said, congratulations, Real Esteli. Felicidades, you really deserve this win. Independiente played hard, but it just wasn't enough. Just not perfect enough. And you had to be perfect. That's life. With that being said, if you like this video, like it, share, subscribe. You know what it is. Tell your friends. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell notification once you subscribe. Send super chats on the live streams. Comment on this video. Put us in playlist. Share with friends and family. All that great stuff. As I'll see you tomorrow for a recap of the semifinals of the Central American Cup, the play-in of the Central American Cup, and the semifinals of the Caribbean Cup. We will review all those ties. Tell you how many predictions I got right and how many I got wrong. And tell you what the finals are and the third place game is. Finals for both and the third place of the Caribbean is. No predictions until before the tournament, before the finals start later this month. You know how this works. Just a recap. With that being said, I'm Ryan and I'm out. Peace. See you later.